All right, let's dive into this fascinating explainer by looking at a behavior millions of us dog owners experience every single night. Picture this, it's 2 a.m. Your dog has a perfectly good, honestly probably very expensive bed of their own sitting completely untouched somewhere in your house. And yet, here they are, pressing against your legs, stealing the blanket, and leaving you with a tiny fraction of your own mattress. Now, you've probably just laughed it off as a quirky habit, right? But what if everything you assumed about this nightly ritual was completely wrong?
You might assume they just want a soft mattress and some warmth, but we are going to completely upend that theory right now. Sure, dogs get cold and you're warm, but think about it for a second. Your dog has a couch, a sunny patch by the window, maybe a pile of your laundry on the floor. If physical comfort was literally all they wanted, they have plenty of other options that don't involve getting kicked by a restless human in the middle of the night.
So the really crucial takeaway here is that ignoring every other cozy spot in the house to sleep beside a giant human isn't actually about temperature. It's about survival, and it's about trust. Sleep is the most vulnerable state any living creature can enter. Every single primal instinct inherited from thousands of years of predator-prey dynamics is screaming at them to find a hidden, protected space when they're unconscious. Instead, they choose to press themselves right up against you.
Which brings us to the secure base effect. When they climb into your bed, they are fundamentally telling you that you are the safest thing in their entire world. Researchers actually adopted the exact same attachment test used by child psychologists to study human infants, and the results were absolutely incredible. Dogs form attachment bonds with their owners that are functionally identical to the bond a baby forms with its mother. Over 60% of dogs showed a secure attachment. That is almost exactly the proportion found in human toddlers.
And this bond actually traces back 15,000 years, when the friendliest wolves first began approaching human camps. Jump ahead to 14,000 years ago, and archaeologists have actually found a dog buried with humans that had been intensively nursed through a deadly disease called canine distemper. These weren't just working animals to early humans, they were family. And today, domestic dogs carry unique genetic insertions on chromosome 6 that make them biologically wired to seek out human contact.
10,000 to 100,000. That's how many times more sensitive a dog's olfactory system is compared to yours. They experience the world primarily through smell. So to your dog, your scent is basically your signature, and your bed is the most heavily concentrated source of you in the entire house. When they dig into those blankets, they are quite literally bathing in your chemistry.
Now let's look at the oxytocin loop, because what's truly mind-blowing here is that this neurochemical feedback loop of love and trust only happens between dogs and humans. When you and your dog interact, both of your brains release oxytocin. That's the exact same hormone that bonds mothers to newborns. And it gets better. Just 10 minutes of petting drops the stress hormone cortisol in both of you. When researchers tested this with wolves raised by humans from birth, the loop didn't activate at all. This is exclusively our shared superpower.
This leads to HRV synchronization, which is heart rate variability matching. Your nervous systems are actually moving in sync. Basically, your dog acts as an emotional anchor co-regulating with you in the dark. A recent study out of Finland monitored HRV, a key measure of the autonomic nervous system, and they found that during rest, bonded dogs and their owners show completely correlated patterns. If you are calm, your dog is calm. If your stress spikes, their autonomic state shifts right along with it. You are quietly co-regulating each other through the night.
Section 1. Decoding sleep positions. Let's translate this science into the physical world and see what their posture reveals about their psychology.
First, we have the donut. Often called the fox, this tightly curled position beautifully blends ancient survival instincts with a desire for the emotional reassurance of your presence. It's a deeply protective pose. If your dog frequently sleeps like this, it means they feel safe enough to be on the bed with you, but they're still retaining a little layer of primal caution. They're keeping their armor on, so to speak.
Then we have the Superman. You'll often see this in puppies. This splooting posture allows them to snooze while staying totally ready for action at a moment's notice. It is also a really clever way for them to cool down by pressing their less furry bellies against a cool surface if they get too warm on your mattress.
And then there is the absolute best one, the belly up. This brilliantly illustrates the ultimate sign of psychological security. Obviously, it helps them cool down. But more importantly, a dog showing their stomach while unconscious has completely let go of every single survival instinct that tells them to stay guarded. They believe with 100% certainty that nothing bad will ever happen to them while you're around.
Now, even the goofiest golden retriever still has deep-seated pack instincts, and they strategically position themselves to either protect you or be protected by you. If they face the door, they've basically assigned themselves as the sentinel. If they sleep back to back with you, well, that's actually the highest compliment they can give. It means they implicitly trust you to watch their blind spot while they watch the perimeter. Or maybe they sleep parallel to you or tucked between your legs for a physical boundary. It's all about pack dynamics.
Moving to Section 2, how dogs actually sleep. Let's look at how they override their own biology for the sake of the pack.
Have you ever wondered why their sleep schedule so perfectly aligns with your alarm clock? Humans are monophasic sleepers, but dogs are polyphasic. Your dog is literally rewriting millions of years of their own biological programming just to synchronize their existence with your rest. In the wild, they wouldn't sleep straight through the night. They'd be waking up, roaming around, and napping continuously. But deeply bonded dogs force themselves to stay awake during the day and consolidate their sleep at night simply because that is when you are resting.
Now think about what happens when we humans get stressed. We toss, we turn, we get insomnia, right? Dogs do the exact opposite. After a stressful encounter, dogs actually use sleep to psychologically remove themselves from the stress. They dive much faster into sleep and spend significantly more time in REM to dream and process the day's events, even though it means they get slightly less of that restorative deep sleep.
Depending on their age, dogs spend the vast majority of their lives asleep. Just look at this. Puppies and senior dogs can sleep up to 20 hours a day. Since so much of their entire life is dedicated to resting, the psychological and physical environment they choose to do it in is absolutely paramount to their overall health.
Section 3. Should you share your bed? Let's break down the paradox of co-sleeping. For years, experts told us we had to keep pets out of the bedroom for our own sleep hygiene. But the Mayo Clinic tracked owners and dogs with clinical-grade monitors and found this amazing paradox. While the tracking devices proved that your dog objectively disrupts your sleep with midnight stretches and moving around, almost every single participant subjectively reported feeling far more comfortable, secure, and rested. That psychological safety of a trusted companion totally overrides the physical disruptions. So, if you are going to co-sleep, just follow these practical steps to ensure everyone stays healthy and well-rested. Make sure the mattress is big enough. Keep those sheets washed, and stay up to date on vet visits. Oh, and definitely give them a solid walk right before bed to burn off excess energy. Trust me, nobody wants a pot of the ribs at 3 a.m. because your dog has the zoomies. Now please pay close attention to this one. If a dog who normally sleeps with you suddenly stops, they are desperately trying to communicate a shift in their physical or mental reality. Dogs are creatures of strict habit. A sudden disappearance from your bed is often an early warning sign of physical pain, like osteoarthritis, or even cognitive dysfunction, which actually affects over a third of dogs over age 8. They don't have words, so behavior is the only language they have. If this ritual changes, you need to listen.
Ultimately, feeling that heavy weight at the foot of your mattress is the culmination of a 15,000-year-old pact between our two species. Sleeping beside you isn't merely a comfort, it's a neurological event. Your dog hasn't just chosen a warm spot in the house. They have chosen you as their anchor during the most vulnerable hours of their life.
So, does your dog's nightly routine reveal a deeper bond than you ever realized? Think about that tonight when they inevitably steal your covers. What feels like an inconvenience is actually the highest compliment an animal could ever give. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you next time as we continue to unpack the fascinating world around us.